Hello everyone, today we're talking about Supreme Commander for the Xbox 360 and I'm joined by Christopher Mayer from Hellbent Games, and you guys are in charge of bringing the game over from the PC to the Xbox 360. I can't imagine that has been an easy process, but you guys have done great work so far.
It was definitely challenging. The 360 didn't compare directly across to the PC, but we got it all to fit. The big changes are our control scheme is very intuitive and different than the PC, but other than that, I mean, the experience is the PC experience. You play the same hardcore maps, you play the same campaign all the way through, you have the same massive amounts of units. It really transferred over.
So for someone who's never played Supreme Commander before, what is this game? What do you do in this game?
It's a large-scale real-time strategy game. You start off with little small units and build massive units near the end of your combat. It has some pretty amazing features that are different than other RTS games. You can zoom in and out from literally from the clouds all the way into like the smallest little unit. And that allows you to build really small units and then build massive units as well. So when you start off, you're with little tiny ground units and you're building up to really big units, quite different than every other RTS out there.
What did you have to do to make this game play in an Xbox 360?
We definitely had to change a few things. We had to lower the textures down a bit. We had to change a bit of like the level of detail on some things, but not too much. I mean, if you look at it, we're about like a middle to high level setting PC. We still have everything intact. We didn't have to take any of the special effects or any of the units away. It's all there. We had to take a couple of the really extremely big maps away. So we only took away 6 maps. Every other map is intact, and everything in the story stayed exactly the way it was. We really didn't have to take anything away.
Very cool. So I imagine one of the biggest challenges to this game then was getting the controls working. This is a PC game meant to be played with a mouse and keyboard, and you guys have made it play really well with an Xbox 360 controller. How did that come about, and give me a sort of an overview of the controls.
Sure. Well, Chris Taylor and I sat down at the very beginning and said, can we do this? And the first question was, can we make it work on the controller? And there's a lot of controls. This is not a light real-time strategy game. This is a pretty heavy-duty real-time strategy game. You're getting the whole deal here. So we took a step back and looked at what you could do. And we looked at conventions on the controller, like moving and zooming and panning around, what you do in like a first-person shooter. And we tried to line everything up with that. And then we really needed to speed things up. There's a lot of menus and buttons to drive in the game, and we wanted to get rid of a lot of the interface. So in order to do that, we got everything off the screen we could, very minimal interface. And the controller now, we use a wheel selector. And the wheel selector allows us to quickly build units, quickly select groups, quickly assign commands without having to go through any clunky systems. There's no moving back and forth through systems. Literally, you bring up a wheel, gesture your analog stick, press a button, and you're there for almost every command. And
some of the more subtle changes in the game I've noticed have been things you're doing with build queues and things like that, templates for building bases. Tell me about those kind of things.
Well, we're fortunate that the first add-on pack for Supreme Commander came out during our development cycle. So we got to do everything in Supreme Commander 1 and then borrow some of the cool things from Forged Alliance. So we're not using any of the story content of Forged Alliance, but they had these really cool things like base templates. So you can build your base the way you want it and grab a series of buildings from there and make a stamp of that, and then anytime you want to, grab that stamp and rebuild it, which allows you to build your bases much more efficiently, much quicker, and then recall your base structures when you go into a game the second time. So we also save those for your factions as well. So every time you go in, you can quickly build your efficient base. You can also optimize. You can also learn the way a base should be built, what's working for you, what's not working for you, and then reuse that really very quickly.
Cool. So 4-player online, a couple new game modes that you were telling me about.
Yeah, we added a few new multiplayer modes that are exclusive to our game. We have a King of the Hill mode, which is a centralized area where you have to get units in and try to hold that area. Basically, while your units are in there, you get more points. If you get to the point total, you win the game. The other one we added was Command Point. Command Point is a series of little bases you have to try to take. They're tricky to take because you have to capture them. In order to capture a base, you have to have an engineer capable unit. So that's any of your engineer classes or your commander that are able to go in and capture a base. Well, your commander and your engineers are often not the most aggressive units, so you need to go in there with some good defenses and pack around. The other thing you need to do is build up little outposts around each of those ones, or else as you're going along taking bases, someone's going right behind you and taking the bases. So they're pretty fun modes, and they're exclusive to the 360 version.
Excellent. So the last question everybody wants to know about is, when's this game coming out?
We're looking for March right now. Okay. We haven't pinned down the exact day. We're just on the final details right now of the game, but it's pretty soon. I mean, you should be seeing us definitely Q1 this year. So
awesome. Well, we'll hope for March. Supreme Commander for Xbox 360, hopefully coming in March. We'll look forward to it.
Thanks.